Hello, dear friends. Welcome. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, talking about spirituality and health. If you haven't met me before, my name is Shane Martin. I'm broadcasting live on YouTube and on Facebook from Richmond, Virginia. We are here in the Spiritist Society of Richmond, and always an honor to be with you. So today, I'm going to invite our friends Evelyn and Eric to join us so we can start our conversation. Hello, Evelyn. Hello, Eric. How are you guys doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Good. Yeah.
Good. Thank you for joining me today. It's always good to talk about Spiritist topics. We are here with you guys live every Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States of America, but you can always watch our talks on demand on YouTube, our YouTube channel, and our Facebook Live. In every Spiritist gathering, we always have a couple of recommendations for everybody. The first one is for us to have a little bit of water with us as we connect with the higher spirits. They can come and magnetize the water for us and infuse it with good molecules for our spiritual and physical health. We always start with a reading of a message, and Eric's going to read a message for us from the book Happy Life by the Spirit Joanna De Angelis through the medium Divaldo Franco. You can obtain this book if you go to Leal Publisher, Leal Publisher, or on Amazon.com, wherever good books are sold. So we always encourage folks to have those inspirational messages to read at home. So I'm going to bring in Eric full full size so he can read the message for us. Floor is yours, Eric.
Thank you. Make it a habit to tell the truth. The white lie habit is a gateway to more serious ones, pushing you towards the quagmire of libel and slander. A single spark produces the same blaze as a crackling flame. Major crimes begin as misdemeanors, overlooked by justice, which make for a more severe offense. Be morally demanding of yourself. Don't climb into the boat of general conventions. Every person must answer for him or herself, and each deed leaves a mark on the conscience. Don't stop being yourself as you morally progress.
All right, thank you very much for that message. And now I'm going to welcome everybody to join us in a prayer. I see some of you are live with us here in Richmond. Welcome. Feel free to write your comments or questions. We can see your comments and questions. We cannot see you. However, I can see there are some of you live, so we're welcome. Feel loved and join in your hearts, yet physically distanced, spiritually connected with us. So I'm going to have here myself so I can say the prayer for us. If you guys were to join me, we always recommend that you close your eyes, mainly because we want to eliminate the external stimuli around us, but only do so if it's safe to do so, if you're not operating machinery, driving or doing something that is dangerous, if you're not keeping an eye on little ones that need supervision 24/7. So let's pray. Dear Mother, Father God, we thank you for the blessings of our lives, for the opportunity of being together during this reincarnation, for the wonderful tool we have received, our physical bodies on this planet. We pray that tonight we are able to connect with the higher spirits, that we are able to connect with our guardian angels and spirit guides, so they may inspire us towards doing the good. May the good spirits bless all of us, incarnate and discarnates, with showers of healing light that penetrates our perispirit, our spirit, and our physical bodies. We aim tonight, dear Lord, to co create with you in the good. We aim to connect with you and be more able to understand your will for us during this lifetime. Dear Lord, thank you for the blessings that we have. We pray for all of those on the earth, our family members, our friends, those who we don't know, our co workers, our acquaintances, all of the spirits on this earth who are here today experiencing the planetary transition. May the good spirits travel all throughout the earth, healing, soothing, giving them strength. May we all connect in one humankind, caring for one another and caring for all the lower kingdoms of life. One earth, united, evolving, progressing together. We ask you, dear Lord, that you inspire our studies, that our minds and hearts are able to connect with you. We ask you for your permission, for your protection to begin today's studies. And so be it. All right, dear friends, welcome. I see some of you live on Facebook and on YouTube. Dear Evelyn and dear Eric, I am going to minimize you guys from the stream now and I'll show our presentation. I'll bring Eric and Evelyn to join us periodically through the talk so we can talk about spirituality and health, okay?
Okay.
All right, dear friends, spirituality and health. So before we talk about spirituality and of health, we need to talk about the definition of spirituality and of health as we will talk about today. We want to make sure we are on the same page. I see that maybe our friend Jose is here with us. Jose, we miss you so very much. We hope that we can join physically one day soon. But until then, feel our love and our connection with you. So, according to the World Health Organization, health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. So, let's think about this. So, we have physical, our physical bodies, mental, our mental thoughts, our minds, and our social well being. So, these three different dimensions, not just being free of disease, and let's reflect with the knowledge we know. Who on earth is free of disease anyway? So we are still expiating a lot of errors. We're going through different trials and different missions. We're improving ourselves as we go. So it's very unlikely that all of us at any given time are completely absent of disease. When we are, we're blessed and we bless that state. However, we need to incorporate a couple of more definitions that the planet is still not up to par, right? The science is evolving. The science of the physical realm evolves as much as the science of the spiritual realm. And the spiritual teachings, the spiritist teachings are ahead and avant-garde compared to what we have on the earth. So we need to talk about our spiritual realm. We need to talk about health of our perispirit, health of our spirit, health of our thoughts, health of our deeds, right? And the spirituality is just a quality of being spiritual relating to affecting the spirit. So when we go to the book, the spiritual book by Allan Kardec, in the first part of the book, he talks about the definition of spiritualism, and that's why, being the opposite of materialism. So when we talk about spirituality today, we'll talk about this act of actively connecting with the spiritual realm, specifically with the high spirits on the spiritual realm, because we are on the earth surrounded by many different types of spirits. So we really want to connect with the higher spirituality than with the folks who are our level or lower. So we want to make sure that we think about not just health of the physical body, but also the perispirit or spiritual body and health of our spirits, as well as this act of connecting with the higher beings. They're all around us in any given time because divine providence is goodness, and divine providence is this encompassing force of the universe that is radiating all over the universe. It behooves us to connect with the higher realms, to feel divine providence around us, to being immersed in the universal cosmic fluid that is the creator's breath. According to Emmanuel, we can extract from this cosmic fluid the molecules and the materials necessary for us to experience well-being in all realms: physical, mental, social, spiritual well-being. Okay, well, why talk about health and spirituality? So I'm going to spend some time talking about health. Question and answers 718 and 719 of the Spirit's book. Kardec asks, does the laws of self-preservation require us to provide for our bodily wants? The answer, yes. Labor is impossible without strength and health. So you and I were given our physical bodies. Now we molded our physical body, as we're going to see um, a little bit later. We molded our physical bodies by the act of our spirit's mind. However, we didn't create the molecules that form our physical body. So we are given these elements and we mold it. So we are blessed with the physical vehicle from which we can apply the teachings we receive in the spiritual realm. We can go through different trials, we can go through different experiences for us to be evolved. However, is it too much to ask for us to talk about our bodily wants? Because then you can talk about being the opposite of spiritual, right? Because in spiritism we're balanced, we're reason, so we cannot be totally physical and focus completely on our physical body, or just focus on the spiritual part of ourselves and forget about the body. Because you have the law of self-preservation, so you and I are given this vessel, we need to take care of the vessel, and we have an instinct to preserve ourselves. So Kardec asks, are human beings at fault for seeking well-being? He says, well-being is a natural desire. God only prohibited excesses because excess is detrimental to survival. God has not made a crime to seek well-being, that if that well-being is not acquired at another expense, and if it does not weaken your moral physical strength. So there's nothing wrong with wanting well-being, physical or otherwise, but we have to be balanced. We cannot do too much and just focus on one area of our lives on anything. So it's very important that we care for our health, because if we don't care for our health, we incur the possibility of being an indirect suicide, where we don't take care of our bodies, we don't live as long as we could, we don't do the things that we're supposed to be doing, and then we discarnate sooner. That's another aspect of worrying about physical health. In the book Foreign Life by Emmanuel, chapter 15, Emmanuel reminds us physical health can be compared to a house and its tenant, or to the owner of a vehicle. The tenant's care or neglect reflects upon the house. Likewise, a vehicle reveals the care of neglect and the character of its owner. So there's nothing wrong. The higher spirits, just such as Emmanuel, are reminding us that if we are experiencing physical disease or some unhealthy state, it could be that we're not taking care of this physical vessel as much. Does it mean that if I'm completely spiritual, I'll never have disease? No, because we are not pure spirits yet. We still have to experience the vicissitudes of life, because being born is hard, growing up is hard, be grown is hard, and aging is hard as well. So each phase of our lives has different needs and different cares and recommendations. So we need to worry about how our physical health is. And mainly because you co-create with God. So I'm talking about you as a spirit, surrounded, embedded in your perispirit, that you extract from the elements of the planet you're living in. There are two types of co-creation, according to Andrea Louise in the book Evolution in Two Worlds. The greater plane, those are the spirits that are creating, like our Christ, Jesus Christ, creating planets, planning galaxies, and so on and so forth, creating beautiful stars and taking care of all the celestial bodies out there. And there's another kind that is co-creation on lesser plane. So that's you and I. Why? Because we're going to see There again, just as a reminder, you have a spirit, a perispirit, and a physical body. So you are multi-dimensional, just as definition of health is multi-dimensional. You are multi-dimensional being. So you have a vehicle that you need, a vessel for you to imprint upon the environment around yourself, the gifts that you get, the knowledge you have, the good deeds you're supposed to be doing in this physical world. However, in order for this physical body to be healthy, you need to imprint good things into it. In the book Foreign Life Again, Emmanuel says the condition of the physical body, the health or unhealthy states of it, is invariably shaped by the condition of the spiritual body, just as the condition of the spiritual body is subject to the governance of our will. Did you know that, dear friends? That your will determines the condition of your spiritual body, that determines the condition of your physical body. So, spirit's will, spiritual body, physical body, that's the chain of action. This is beautiful because this is also congruent with many other religions and spiritual practice all over the world. The world is just now realizing the power of our thoughts, the power of what we think and what we focus on, because we are vibrational beings. So this is congruent with some folks out there that don't necessarily know about spiritism. So the spirits are now waiting for the entire world to be spiritist, which could be possible in the future. They are spreading the ideas of spirituality all around the world because the language we use in spiritism, the words and the way we study, will reach a certain audience. And other people will be able to bring the same teachings in different contexts. So, for example, the work of Louise Hay. She talks about thoughts shaping your life and talks about how you can heal yourself. She talks about the different types of thought patterns, remorse, and guilt that could potentially trigger the development of disease in the body. So we are spreading the good spirits are spreading the seeds of knowledge all around the earth, and then they're bringing to us in this shape. You and I are spiritists, so we want to make sure we are always capturing those inspirations to have a better physical health. So the degree to which you're able to control your will, you can shape your spiritual body and your physical body. And again, Emmanuel, later in the same book, Fought in Life, it's a beautiful book. I have it here with me. Let me grab it. It's a beautiful book. It's a very short book that teaches you about um, it's actually a little manual that the spirits use before reincarnating. And one of the chapters in this book is the body. He says, starting with the embryonic phase, the spirit continually imprints its mental reflexes on the instruments through which it manifests in the world. So, from the moment you are the union of a sperm cell and an egg, that you become a zygote, there is a magnetic force that attracts your spirit to that cell. It's in the book Incarnation of Sigismundo, Missionaries of the Light. I'll put that quote in later after we're done. And from there on, that one cell becomes two cells, it becomes four cells, it becomes 16 cells, so on and so forth. And you're going to form this little embryo that will come to be born as a child. So every time, if you want to see a spirit manifestation, if you want to see a spirit manifesting and materializing in front of you, observe the birth of a baby. That's the true materialization of a spirit, because cell by cell, Andrea Louise is telling us, we spirits, our spirits are continually imprinting our mental reflexes, our thoughts, what we're feeling, what we're thinking is continually being imprinted on our physical cells. That's why it's very important to cultivate good thoughts so that the vibrational pattern of our thoughts attract good spirits around us who inspire us to do the good, and then our physical bodies will feel the good vibrations. That doesn't mean, again, you're never going to be sick, because there are things we can have, um, we need to go through in this lifetime. So we talked about the definition of health. We talked about the connection between what is spirituality as connect us with the higher spirits, and discussed a little bit how you and I can create the shape and the state of our physical body since the moment we are in the womb to today. So you and I today, right now, are here actively learning something new, because labor is any useful activity in the law of labor in the Spirit's book. Therefore, we are imprinting in the environment around us, not only in ourselves, but all around us, good thoughts, good vibrations. But what causes lack of health? Because first, to understand how spirituality is related to health, we also have to understand what is lack of health. So Andrea Luiz and Emmanuel brings to us that there are visible causes, the things you and I ingest. So if you were to go out and ingest some illicit drug, that will cause lack of health. Or if you eat too much, if you drink, or if you don't eat too much, or if you don't exercise, or if you exercise too much, it's all about balance. And there's also our unhealthy emotions, when deeply seated, can also create disease. In a more mechanistic way, Andrea Luiz tells us that the etiology or the causes of the long-standing illnesses are in the perispirit. In the book Evolution into World, that you can watch the study of that book, that is done by myself, Vanessa Anceloni, and Marco Magalhães in the Kardec Radio. You can watch that on Kardec Radio website, or on the Facebook, on a YouTube channel. You can study. We study chapter by chapter of the book. And in that book, Andrea Luiz describes, so does Emmanuel in the book Foreign Life, the chapters Health, Illnesses, and the Body. There's a chapter about health, about illnesses, and about the body. They explain that because of our multimillenary nature, the multiple thousands of incarnations we've had all over the globe, and all over the universe for that matter, that anytime we did something wrong, that created guilt and remorse. And that guilt and remorse causes knots in our perispiritual body, because our perispiritual body is made of semi matter, and also you have this vibration. So there is a knot that doesn't allow the flow of vitality and the vibrations around you to be the way they're supposed to be. So when we reincarnate, that knot in contact with the physical body, remember I told you spirit will molds the perispirit that molds the body, and now that knot can make us more predisposed to a disease. Now, they also tell us in the book Foreign Life, Emmanuel tells us that if we work towards the good, that doesn't mean necessarily you're doomed to have a disease. But if you work towards the good, now you're attracting to your side good spirits, then maybe that disease may not be manifested in this life, it will be manifested in another way. We get a moratorium. But so that doesn't mean that if you have disease, you committed a lot of wrongs, because we all committed lots of wrongs throughout our lives. So the important part is that you recognize that you are a work in progress, that every day you commit to do the good. And in the book, so we'll talk about thoughts affecting our physical body. In the book, it's called Seara do Bem. The translation would be Behind the Scenes of the Spiritist Center. You have this case here with Mark and Tonini. Tonini was, like you and I, a spiritist. And when he discarnated, he went back to Spiritist Center and he wanted to watch the behind the scenes. Go read this book. It's a beautiful book. And if you type it in behind the scenes of the Spiritist Center on Google and YouTube, several, and maybe we'll do one of these days, we'll do another talk like this. But because of COVID, we thought about talking about health and how we can modify our thought patterns so the health can be achieved, or at least lessened. So Tonini, so if you Google there, behind the scenes of the Spiritist Center, other groups have done talks about this book, so you can see what it really happens and the magnitude of the work of the Spiritist Center. That is very important. So Mark and Tonini, just as Andrea Louise, they're there watching the folks, and this is an audience of incarnate beings. This 6 people you see here are incarnate beings, and Mark and Tonini are the discarnates, right? They're the spirits around watching this lady, and they can talk about how the her thoughts and the things she's feeling and the way she's treating other people, how that is causing her cardiac area to be surrounded by this dark matter. and that her thoughts are moving from her head, that dark matter, and impregnating her heart. And then they talk about why that is. And they say negative thoughts and pessimism form a dense mass that acts on the cardiac plexus that could cause disease. However, throughout the talk, that's why it's important that we go to the Spiritist Center, because we will be inspired. The good spirits are there watching us. They can install instruments underneath our chairs that will help us. And then she says, with Tonini and Mark said, with the message, she was able to shift the thoughts and the mass disappears. So we still on the earth not able to capture thought particles. But the books of Andrea Luiz tell us clearly that thought is a particle. There's mental matter. So when you're thinking, now it's an exercise. When you're going about your day, just today, the last few hours, what were you thinking? What were you feeling? And then envision the color that mass would be around you. So hopefully you're filled with feelings of love and care for all beings, the ones you know, the ones you don't know. And then you radiating goodness, and your mass around you is all beautiful. But then sometimes during the day we may not be so kind to ourselves and others, and then we have that dense mass. And that's the kind of invisible world that's still to be discovered in our world, that would can explain some processes of the disease. Now, from thoughts to actions, remember, we talked about health, we talk about connecting with the good spirits, we talk about how you and I can actively imprint our feelings and thoughts and emotions into our physical. And we talk about how our thoughts can affect different areas of our bodies and predispose us to disease. So this is what I was talking about. You have these mental creations and mental images. And that's why the spirits, when they come to the meetings, when they are in our houses, if we're angry, we're sad, we're upset about someone, we can forgive them. They can tap into that because they can actually see, just as if it was a movie, what you're thinking, especially the higher spirits. So Emmanuel says the mental reflexes set the stage for emotion. So you have a thought, you have a feeling, an emotion. Emotions will give you ideas, and ideas will determine your attitudes and your words, and then that translates into actions. And that's how you can co-create, even if you're just sitting here thinking, because you can think the good, you can send loving vibrations to someone you love, you can send loving vibrations for the earth, and please do, for the earth, for the animals, for the minerals, for for the vegetable kingdom, for the other human beings, and for all the universe. So you can co-create with God in that small sense, because every time you are able to shift your vibrations to goodness, each and every cell of the body is under your command. So you can co create right here on your physical body. And then you're going to co create with God by studying, by reading, by exercising a profession, by raising children towards God, by, landscaping, creating houses, or whatever your talent may be. So you can co create in all planes at all times, but we still are co creator of lesser planes, because you really have a narrower circle of influence that's a Christ like Jesus would have, of course. So, can we affect the course of our health destinies, and how? Yes, we can. So, are you doomed to have a disease just because you did something wrong in the past life? No, no, no. Emmanuel says, continuous and untiring practice of good deeds, clear and righteous thoughts, which contributes to edification, will change the function of the diseased cells. We can attract parasite by means of reflexes, of our improved and nobler mental reflexes that help the light and the support of others according to the law of solidarity. So now we're talking about spirituality, because every time you do a good deed, the good spirits are like, hey, this is a good worker. They come, you attune with them, you're a higher vibration. And then we can even improve this state of higher spirituality, which is really meditating, resting, taking good care of your physical body, and most importantly, praying. Because if we are all going to have difficulties in this lifetime, but then every time you have agency, you have the control, you can control your reactions, you can control your thoughts. You may not be able to control your situation because sometimes God imposes on us certain conditions. And I'm not saying that you wishing good thoughts is going to make all your diseases disappear. If possible. Of course, it's possible, probable. We don't know. But I'm just saying we can choose to be in a better vibrational state to improve the chances of we're going to be in a better health state. So, how can we cultivate health? I put some examples here, but I'm going to bring my friends Eric and Evelyn back so that I can ask them how they think we can cultivate health together. So let me bring Evelyn, and I think, hello, friends. Let me
Thank
see if I can bring you back here. So, how can we cultivate health based on everything that you heard me say in the past 30 minutes? Any thoughts, comments, or ideas on it? Because
I think we can cultivate health if we monitor our thoughts. Negative thoughts attract lower order spirits. They make us more stressful. They have a biological effect, negative effect on our body. So I think having positive thoughts lead to positive emotions and positive actions, and it kind of has a nice feedback loop in socially with other people, attracting higher order spirits. Um,
Yeah, I thinking from the point of view of maybe like preventing diseases, right? And then trying to avoid them. I would mention two things related with thoughts that Eric said, but one, your habits too. So your eating habits, your exercise habits, and in terms of thoughts, also like how you deal with your emotions, right? Because we're gonna have all sorts of thoughts and feelings, and that is fine and normal, right? But if you just keep um, stuck in anger or resentment or even sadness, right? It can create a lot of imbalance. So it's fine to feel those things, but like you said, you should pay attention to your thoughts and try to go molding them in a different way, and try to do something to improve our thoughts. Sometimes it's a walk outside. We know it improves most people, right? Feelings when you have contact with nature and you breathe some air. Sometimes it's meditation, sometimes it's listening to music. Um, you know, we, we go figuring out what helps us. But yeah,
and then it's
Taking a walk outside is one of my favorite things to do
yeah.
for your health, for my health. It gives
Mental
you
health, right?
the mental health. It gives you a break. It gets you closer to nature. It gives you some exercise. It gives you a chance to reset your thoughts. So it hits a lot of things.
And then that's what we bring about, this connection with spirituality because it's been difficult times for everybody. We have to talk about the difficulties we experience. We are incarnated in this world. Kardec always discuss things of his time. And part of the reason for us to be together talking about health and spirituality, not necessarily health and spiritism, right? Because it's more than just being a spiritist. It's really knowing that you're more than physical. And in the times where we are, where there's more fear, there's more anxiety, we need to shift that focus because, like I said, we have agents, we can choose. It's easy. No, it's not easy sometimes, because you're also affected by, if you think that if you're thinking that you're thinking, if you visualize yourself thinking and emanating out, so whatever you're emanating out can affect the folks around you. And now imagine their thoughts coming towards you. So when the collective of the earth is feeling a little not as high vibration, then we have to be even more mindful and more active on this connection with the spirits, because there's so much goodness in the world. You think about, and that's exactly, there's a thought that came to mind, hopefully inspired by the good spirits, is that the book No Solar by Andrea Louise, chapter 42, describes the state of the colony during World War II. And it's exactly kind of what's happening, this collective fear, because the war starts in the spiritual realm. Everything starts in the spiritual realm and comes to us because we go there every night and we interchange and we learn. And then it describes how the colonies, the outposts closer to the earth, they were feeling our fear, and then how it spread, and then the governor of the colony, they pray every day at 6. Did you know at 6 o'clock they pray every day because it's Mother Mary's hour? So another tip: pray every day at 6 in the morning before you come out of bed, and then at 6 at night. Then you can, like, they were all raising the vibration of the colony altogether. And that's a colony that is bordering the lower zones. Let's remember, La Solar is not a joyful world. But that's an example of how, we can be, in a sense, contaminated with the everything that is happening around us. So it takes more work from the spirits for them to connect with us, because we are more focused on the daily: how I'm going to survive, how I don't want to get sick, where's my mask, how do I wash my hand, are you too far away from me? So those little things that are physical that we have to pay attention to now, because we want to create our health. We want to stay healthy because we want to stay long. We want to live long in this life, as long as we were supposed to, let's say. Maybe get a moratorium or two so that we can do even more good works. We don't want to discarnate sooner because that wouldn't be a good outpost. Cool. Any other comments or questions before I go through a couple of tips before we pray?
Well, I liked that you talked about the need for balance, and I think Evelyn mentioned these things too. That we need sleep, we need proper nutrition, we need exercise. It's important to have prayer in our life. That we need to have all of these things, and having a balance is good to strive for.
Yeah, and because when we are incarnated, if we only focus on the body, there's nothing wrong with focus on the body. But imagine if you only focus on the physical and you don't take any time, you focus on eating well, exercising, doing things, but you're never connected with your spiritual part, because you're a three part, right? Spirit, per spirit, and body, in a simplistic way. And then when you sleep, you're gonna go back and go to the gym and exercise because you won't be connected to good spirits and go work. There's nothing wrong with exercise. Exercise is part of the way we cultivate health. All right, a couple more things, and I'll bring you guys back for our final prayer. Thank you so much. Maybe, yeah, let's see. All right, so like they were saying, we have, nutrition, exercise, we have medicine, we have psychotherapy. We haven't talked about psychotherapy and medicine. We talked about prayer, we talked about this. We really want to use all the resources we can. So if you are feeling something, let's focus on the physical body. The physical body can break down. Go see someone that has the authority to make sure is not there's if there's something wrong with your physical body, you can potentially fix it. Psychotherapy is one of it's the most important things to do too, because you have to unknot, see how the therapist here is making the jumbled thoughts into nice little yarns, unpacking the trauma, unpacking the things that went wrong, can help. Because remember, your thoughts, if you keep thinking about something that happened to you 15 years ago, it happened, it's valid. But if you stay there, you're going to be imprinting those lower vibrations in your physical body. Eventually you can get sick, and there's space and time for also for pharmacological interventions that can restore health for us. Prayer is another one. So to pray is to align oneself with the greatest source of power in the universe, that is God, to absorb its riches and to reflect the laws of permanent renewal that govern the foundations of life. So that's brought to us by Emmanuel in chapter 26 of Thought and Life by Prayer. In the Gospel according to Spiritism, I was reading this right before we started again. It's always good to get a reminder about prayer. Prayer is one of the things that are free and easy to do. It's not easy to do when you start, because we were really not taught to pray But in chapter 27 and 28, you probably won't be able to read, but the Kardec titled the chapter "Ask and It Shall Be Given." And then they'll talk about, there's the gospel according to Spiritism Go. We'll have the Bible quotes and explanation. But mainly here, you have the blueprint of prayer. In chapter 28, you have the examples of the Spirit give us examples on how to pray. So if you never prayed, aside from the memorized prayers you were taught, read these two chapters. They're not long. But one of the things Kardec brings to us through the good spirits is that prayer is the duty. There's a law of adoration, the law of worship. It's the duty, and the spirits say the first thing you should do when you wake up is to pray, because you could not have, there's a chance you didn't wake up in the morning. So every time you open your eyes in the morning, you pray. That's the first thing you do. Doesn't need to be a 15-minute prayer. No, just a short prayer of gratitude. It can be if you want to, if you have the time to do it. And then they say during the day you need to pray, and then at night you need to pray. Then you connect, you're aligning the spirituality, you aligning with God. And of course, God as the creator of everything that is around. God will send the good spirits to help us, and then through the good spirits we can activate our power. The other spiritist concept for improving our health is to have the gospel home, because in the gospel home, this is the top here left is example of the book Messengers, where Isabel is doing the gospel at home. So she's connected with the spirits, that a high spirit here, and her husband and some familiar spirits. Her children are at the table, so you can include the children in the gospel home. It will have a slightly different format than if we were just adults. And then you have also the help. You can help the spirits that are suffering just by holding the gospel at home. And you can, we have done a talk on the gospel at home if you want to watch it later. But mainly, you want to do what we do here. We read a message, we pray, we do a discussion, or we pray and we read an inspirational text from Spiritism. We discuss it with our family members. We bring those teachings into our daily lives, and then we pray at the end. That's pretty much what we're doing. And during the gospel at home, or during a regular Spiritist meeting, or right now as we're here, as you have your water, here it shows us behind the scenes a physician and his medical team magnetizing the water. So when we're able to physically meet again on the spiritual center, bring your water bottle. Bring a water bottle for your family members and friends. Have the water bottle next to you when you do the gospel at home. The spirits will come and magnetize. And Mark and Tonini were able to see the infusion of molecules. And those molecules are specific to you and I. So you don't need to worry about the bottle being open or closed. It can be a closed bottle. You don't need to worry about labeling. You might want to label it just so you don't drink each other's water in times of COVID, and you're like uh, exchanging this, touching every other stuff. But they know who is going to drink the water, which water bottle belongs to everybody. It doesn't need to be specific color or shape. It just needs to be clean, purified water. So this is one way we can improve the connection with the spirituality, help the spirits around us, because they are around us, they are suffering, and then we can help ourselves as well. And if we connect with the higher realms, I wanted to bring you two examples that by improving our spirituality, we can receive help. We can receive help here. Here is in times of COVID. I will assure you that in the spiritual realm, if someone is discarnating of COVID or otherwise, anywhere in the world, nobody's alone. If we're able to pray for the person there in the hospitals, they can be connected with the good spirit. So here's an example from the book Messengers. Here's Andrea Luiz in the blue and the other workers. And this is a person. Remember, these books were published in the 40s, right? In the 50s. So these are ICUs of the past, or sometimes ICUs of some poor countries in the world. But you have a gentleman who is receiving an IV, who is going to discarnate. And you can see the spirits. The spirits are, the physicians are there, the nurses are there, the therapists are there to receive them. So if you have a loved one who is in any shape or form in a hospital, pray for them. Pray, visualize this image here. Put your person in the bed or if someone you know, put them in that position and visualize the good spirits doing passes, magnetizations. And here you have the physical beings around. So if you are able to visit them, you're able to be with them. Don't be there idling on your phone. Be there praying and reading the gospel or some other spiritists, because you can actively help them. They can come. When you improve your spirituality, when you improve your connection with the divine, the spirits come to help. And here's another example of um, Marika. You can see that she's alive. She's they induced her sleep because she's in a state of mental derangement. She's in a psychotic state. She's very sad, and they induce her sleep. They bring her to a hospital in the spiritual realm, and the physicians are doing surgeries on her. So when we raise our awareness of the spiritual realm, when we start doing those things, and I'm not saying they're easy, it's a habit you have to, but they're not impossible. It's a habit that you can develop. Just like exercising is a habit, eating well is a habit, you can today, just by being here and being mindful, not doing a million things, being just in focus on one thing, praying, you can be asked at night by, through intelligent sleep to go. And if you yourself are sick, pray that the good spirits come and do the passes and the magnetization on you so that you can improve your health. Okay, this is what we have today. So we hope that together we can improve our awareness. I'm going to bring my friends here before we pray for their final comments. Let me see if I can. And here I have Evelyn and Eric kindly joining me today. What about your thoughts and comments about anything else we talked today?
I think prayer is very important for reducing our stress, and reducing our stress is going to help our health.
Yeah, stress and anxiety. The other thing that I thought too is that sometimes we may feel worried that we got sick because I don't know, we did something bad in this life or depressed life. But sometimes, it's like a mission, because how you go through some disease may be a good example to others. I think we all know those inspirational stories, that people that, I don't know, they had a bad accident or just a tough disease, right? And they are still like calm and joyful and faithful. So at least I see them as very a source of inspiration, and I hope I deal with diseases like that. So that may also be the reason.
Yeah, and it's a great reminder that I'm by no means I want to imprint on people that we did something wrong. It's not a one-to-one, because like I said, like Emmanuel says, if you actively work toward the good, even if you had the predisposition, that can be soothing, like they can say, okay, you've done, you worked. And the other time is divine mercy is so great, because if it were for us to suffer everything that we have ever done in a different life, we wouldn't be alive. Divine mercy is so great. We would all be disabled, mentally deranged. Nobody would be able to take care of anybody, because we are allowed to forget our past. We are allowed to go for another reincarnation. And every reincarnation we improve. We improve within reincarnation, we improve better. And as you said, sometimes it's a test, because you may not go through a serious, but how you go about it, like, are you resigned? Are you obedient to God's design? Do you get rebellious and you get worse? So it's the process of being, and um and it's hard, because our life on the earth is very physical, it's very material. Still, we focus on a lot of things, and you feel pain. You have this. In the book Evolution to Worlds, Andrea Luiz discloses that from spiritual principle to human is 1.5 billion years. Now, through all that time, you and I are creating these automatic processes that we don't think about. So you start as in the mineral kingdom, as working with molecules and organization of molecules, and you go through the algae, bacteria is one cell. Now imagine one cell. Remember in high school biology, one cell, the minimum unit that can do everything that a living being can do. In all of the trillions of millions of reactions that are happening, your enzymes are working, the protein, you're not thinking about any of that. Your spirit is already able to command that with unconsciously. And then you have an automatic processes of your heart is beating, you'll be able to slow it down a little bit with
Yeah,
breathing
just
and
our immune
meditation.
system is amazing,
Yeah.
right? I was reading more about it now with COVID. But there are a lot of things that are, automatic, and the defenses and other things.
Well, the vigilance, I mean, the immune system is one of the most beautiful things, and it's beautifully harvested by science and medicine through the different immune molecules for medicine, but also vaccines, right? Every time you're breathing, your air is full of foreign bodies. You know, your body's always looking, this is mine, this is foreign. And then it's fighting it off and making sure you don't get sick. Your heart is beating, you're breathing. You can control your breathing, you can bypass that. But if you don't think about breathing, you don't automatically stop breathing. Because imagine if you have to be sitting here trying to connect with the good spirits, but like, okay, now cells do the thing and the DNA replicate, and then defend myself against the bacteria, and then I'll beat the heart. Oh, I forgot to beat my heart. I forgot to breathe, and
Filter the
it's just
blood.
I check blood pressure and then move the leg, and it's really amazing. And I know. Actually, Evolution into Worlds is probably one of the least read books because it's not easy, but it's not hard. You have to read and read. That's why I say go there. What else we can think about doing? And pray for one. I think prayer is the first step, learning to pray sincerely, and start with the prayers you've memorized, but then say them with heart. There's nothing wrong with them. It's just a matter of improving and saying, because God knows everything. So you should really talk to God like you're talking to a friend. Okay, today I screwed this up. I said those things. Please forgive me. How can I, I have a pain here. You can just talk to God as if he's just next to you. Unfortunately, the vision we have is still of anthropomorphic. Is God is not a thing or a person, but you can pray for some spirit, high spirits. As we're together, we can pray. Any other thoughts, feelings, comments before we go for our final prayer? So tomorrow would be 18 years since the discarnation of our dear Chico Xavier. And everything that I told you, except for the books of Kardec, have been given to us by his sacrifice for his example of Christian behavior and humility. So as we go through our night or day, if you're watching this on demand, and he discarnated in June 30th, 2002. So tomorrow will be 18 years. And if it wasn't for him, and for the work of the good spirits that guided him and his sacrifice, we would probably be here today, because he really brought to us everything, the life in the spirit world, about the books of Andrea Luiz and Emmanuel and many others. So I think I watched a tribute to him yesterday, and I think they say over 500 books now already published. And that's a feat that, if it wasn't in a spirituality type of setting, he would be winning all kinds of awards. I don't know many authors who have produced 500 books, and even though we know they're not from him, but they wouldn't be here if he didn't commit, and most importantly, if he didn't fulfill his mission, right, of being here with us. So I want to invite everybody tonight and today to pray for him, whatever he is in the world. For Divaldo, he's also here, still with us at over 90 years of age, traveling, and now not traveling, but doing the lives on all over the world. But their dedication and all the other mediums and all the good spirits that guide our group, that guide the works of all the Spiritist centers, if it weren't for their dedication and in their perseverance, because we are stubborn at times. If it weren't for them to be kind and loving to us, we wouldn't be here today. So I invite everybody to pray for him so that he can continue to inspire us on the other side, for the good works to come from many, many of us. Okay? All right, dear friends, we're gonna Eric and I will be off to the side here and we'll have Evelyn do our prayer.
Hi, everyone. So if you can, close your eyes. Let's connect with the higher spirits. Dear God, guardian angels and spirit guides, thank you for being here with us, inspiring and protecting us. We thank you for all the protection we receive, for our health, for our strength, for this opportunity of reincarnating and learning more and evolving. We humbly ask you to bless those that are sick, those that are suffering, they're in pain, the ones in hospitals, and everyone working at hospitals to help us go through this pandemic and through all the other diseases that are still out there. We ask for your kindness in sharing us with good vibrations and giving us strength to go on. We thank you for all the blessings we have received for our family and friends. And with your permission, we end today's meeting. So be it.
Thank you, dear Evelyn. Thank you, everybody. Here, there, and everywhere. We'll be back with you next Monday at 8 in the month of July. Stay tuned. We're gonna do a series of studies of different chapters of the book Fought in Life for you because we want to remind ourselves what kind of stuff we studied before reincarnating that we need to apply for our daily lives. And as always, please connect with us, send us messages. You can like us, subscribe, you can follow, share everything. Go out there now on YouTube and on Facebook, like all the pages of all the Spiritist societies. You can also always unfollow them if they don't do a good work, but go there and like, subscribe, do the all the little reactions, the beautiful hearts and everything that you guys send us at all times, because we want to make sure that the good spreads all over the earth. The more we like, the more we show relevance to the content, we can game the system and we can have the social media platforms start sharing and suggesting this content to the folks who are out there who may be suffering. Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you.
And again, we are here from the Spirit Society of Richmond. And if you care to join us again, we'll be back Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time of the United States of America. We'll see you next time.